you saw what happened with version 1, what is going to be version 1 of the valve cover. I'm at Cody's place right now, so those of you that have been watching, those of you who've been with us on IG and here on YouTube, you already know Cody. The different designs with the wide body on my car, wide body on the white S2000 that Ryan had built for a client at Rywire, the EV S2K, etc., right? So for those of you that are new here, welcome. You're gonna see more of Cody because Cody's a friend of mine. Cody is part of the network. Cody is a perfect example of one of those people who is a very low-key, quiet person, but who I believe is highly underrated, whose skill set continues to grow, and he just works and works in the background, and many of you just might have no idea how many things he's contributed. He used to work with Honda accessories. He designs his own products. He has his own product line, and he helps a lot of people. We'll actually talk with him too, but I'm in his place right now, and you can see from the background sketches, RSX, DC5 sketches, NSX, some Honda memorabilia, of course the valve covers. We'll get to these in a second. And this is actually a perfect place. I'm on the couch with him, but that is a 3D printed design he has for the Civics. What generation is it?
10th gen.
So the 10th gen Civics is a bumper cap slash air duct. So that's the 3D printed one, and then now is production carbon fiber. So you can see the layers of the printing, right? You guys see it? It goes from printing to production carbon fiber. Great weave, great quality, great fitment. If you look up his hashtag on IG, you'll be able to see guys running his stuff. So he's over there on the computer. We are going to go over the process that went into this and how this valve cover has gave us problems. We got an OEM valve cover here. Cody's right there. We're gonna go over that. So to recap, you guys saw the fitment issues that we were having here. I've got the O-rings pushed in here and the valve cover gasket, but there are a few things that happened which Cody really couldn't have known because I gave him this valve cover. So shout out to Tommy. He let me borrow this BTCC era valve cover. BTC stands for British Touring Car Championship. When they were racing reverse head H's in that era, this company, Tommy bought it years ago, and we used this as a reference point because it had and has some kind of ideas that I had in my head for years, and this is an existing billet valve cover that I thought was a good starting point, and it turned out that it kind of was but kind of wasn't. OEM would obviously be best, but now we have all of them, and version 2 of this, Cody is going to reference directly off of OEM and mix a little bit of this, and then the design cues that I have, I always take his design input, and the final version is going to be a mixture of all of those, with the most important factor being A, fitment, and B, my clients' wants, because they actually want a more simplified, lot of 90-degree flat surface valve cover versus all the sizing and shaping of OEM. And even this has a little bit of curve. You can see that the client really likes this style. So we're in a really good place. There's more work to be done, more hours to be put in, and we're gonna talk to Cody right now. I'm gonna show you a little bit of what goes on in the programs that he uses after scanning, or even sometimes with no scan, just straight up modeling from scratch. Okay, let's go. Okay, Cody, what's up? Hi, Cody.
Hey.
All right, you guys, you can see this. This is the valve cover on Cody's computer. He's using Alias Auto Studio.
Yeah, this is a surface model. I have stuff on different layers, the outer and the inner. I originally modeled it from a scan, which I have somewhere here.
You guys are gonna geek out with me on this. Working with him for years now, the progression of skills and capabilities that I've seen him develop in the wee hours, late nights, early mornings, school, self-taught, etc. It's been really cool to work with Cody. This is the new technology because the way that we actually did my wide body on my Prelude was the old way. So I told Cody the ideas of the shaping that I had in mind, and he was like, all right. Then he rendered it, right? We looked at it as a drawing, and then old school, Cody came with a little oven and clay modeled it to create that.
I still do have the oven.
He still has the oven. Clay modeled the old way, literally packing warm clay, shaving it, shaping it to give it the exact look. And I'm standing there like, yes, that's it. No, let's go wider, let's go shorter. And Cody's like, I think this would make more sense for mounting points. And I'm like, okay, perfect. And that was the process. So anyways, we're printing stuff. So here he is.
So yeah, this is the scan that we initially did of that BTCC valve cover.
Yeah.
We just did a fairly quick scan of it. For something like this, I just prefer to model directly off the object using a caliper just because it's a little bit more accurate, but we do have the scan here. And then from there, I just started to model some of the surfaces in. So this was used as reference, put it to the side, and then started to model in kind of like over top of it. Just using it, you know, turning it on and off, but as we would go on, I would, you know, go back and forth measuring with the caliper, and yeah, we eventually got to a point where we now have a first prototype print, and we're gonna, you know, keep revolving it forward.
Okay, so do you think that now with an OEM valve cover and a full cylinder head, version 2, even if it's not the final design, it's going to fit and it'll be good?
Hopefully. I mean, in a real world, I feel like you probably need to go through maybe at least like 2 or 3 prototypes before you get one. Like those pieces you were filming from me, I probably went through like 5 to 6 different printed prototypes.
The 10th gen bumper caps.
The garnish grills. Yeah. I mean, it takes a while sometimes to get something right because, you know, you fit something that's OEM, it fits really nice and perfect, but then when you go to make something that's aftermarket, you know, there's little things with it that just, you kind of have to figure out. So.
Yeah. Okay, so while he's pulling up some files that I want to show you that kind of still really give a better feel for what he does, what we did was, I ended up just bringing a whole cylinder head here, okay? So I got a whole 8 series cylinder head, an 8 series valve cover. We're gonna take 1, 2, and 3, and we're gonna make version 2 of this one-off Big Mike Edition valve cover off of this original scan. So, you know, Cody, these looks. Can you explain the plot points to them?
Yeah. So
this valve cover is just a black piece, but you guys see every one of these points Cody had to add.
Yeah, these are just markers for scanning. So I originally had coated it with like a powder alcohol mixture to, you know, get rid of the black color, just to give it a matte finish, and then you put down the markers and then scan over it, and the scanner picks up just the markers as it scans. And then and that's how I got the quick scan that I use for reference.
So yeah, that's how that works.
And then ideally scanning the OEM cover would be also good.
Yeah. So basically where we are now is the mounting points on that billet valve cover from that era. There are some very interesting changes they made, and they weren't so crazy that we couldn't open them up like you could with any metal piece, but depending on your tolerances left and right, the wall thickness, if it's by a curve like one of these is, it's not quite that simple as, oh, let's just go up a size, like drill it in, especially if you already cut out of metal. So with this era of technology where you can print stuff, I mean, this is not cheap at all, but you can print and then make these physical modifications, put them into the program, print another one instead of metal, you know? So that's kind of where we are right now. For example, on the OEM-H, these spark plug O-rings, for those of you guys know what's up, you can just push them right in. On this, for whatever reason, and they're identical to this, these have to be like really worked in there, which they're gonna seal just fine. But you guys can see, it's like legitimately difficult to push these in Whereas you guys are the H's and stuff, whatever, B series, no, you can just almost not drop them in, but they fit, you just walk them in like this. With this one, it's a little tight.
Probably just needs a little bit more
like
channel thickness.
Yeah, like
opening,
like a 1/4 mil or something. Yeah, so that's the thing that's cool about working with someone like Cody, where we can do these types of things. So we now have an OEM valve cover, which Cody's probably gonna scan, and then mix it with this, mix it with that file, and that's how we're gonna create version 2, ideally in the next day and a half, which under normal circumstances Cody could or would never do that. But he's working with me, as he always has, to be able to make these creations in the time frame that I need to do it in for this client to debut this build. So that's where we are at this point with these 3 valve covers. So it's a combination of new school and old school technology, a caliper, tape measure, scans, physical markings, etc., etc. We just took a bunch of physical measurements. We are going to definitely make some changes, match some OEM spec, and then I brought one of my H22 cylinder heads. What Cody's thinking about doing is using one of his smaller printers, printing 2 halves, putting them together to have a physical object versus going to the much larger printer to cut out a full-size cover and then physically testing it on here. The average cost for something like this is, what do the bigger companies charge per hour for this type of thing? 150, 200, I think?
I would say so, yeah.
So, for example, we're gonna be about 14 hours in. This gives you an example of why this just isn't done by anyone. It is time consuming and it's a certain skill set, and then the costs, it's very prohibitive. So okay, cool. So Cody pulled up the file, and you guys saw how we were just taking physical measurements with both measuring tape style and caliper digital.
So there's a lot of details that I need to adjust, obviously, but like even looking at, you know, the form of this gasket and knowing that there needs to be openings in there and there needs to be a bevel to match the way the gasket sits, I have to, you know, fix and adjust that. And then also like these internal bosses on the way the BTCC valve cover was designed, I'm gonna change those as well and check all the gaskets here also for these spark plug gaskets. You know, doing a new version I think will be most ideal. You know, getting rid of some of this other stuff.
Yep.
Opening the holes up so there's more clearance. I think that will help greatly.
I agree. So what he was talking about here, guys, is some of these clearances. For the spark plug O-rings, right up in here, and then right here. So the way the valve cover gasket needs to sit, it's right in there, and then to fit this extra edge and lip so that it seals perfectly. So that's kind of what we're doing right now, so that that will sit perfectly in there and seal to the head. So it all goes over here, and he's starting to just already do it. So these adjustments are being made piece by piece, and then it adds up to moment by moment, hour by hour, and you just gotta just boss up and make it happen. So it's amazing to watch the process. Even though I'm generally aware of how it works, I'm learning more and more every time. We customize some stuff because this isn't the only thing that I'm doing for both this client's build and my personal Prelude build. You know, that's what it means to just, you know, kind of keep the envelope being pushed, raising the bar, and continuing to innovate ideas to stimulate the culture. And I'm really excited about doing this. I'm not excited about how much it costs, but I am excited about the knowledge being gained and working with a good person, a small business that's located here, and nothing's outsourced. Nothing's done overseas. Obviously Cody's right here, the modeling's done right here, the printing's done right here, the billet cutting is done right here, all supporting local businesses and people that I've been blessed to be friends with. That's what it's about on multiple levels. So
I'm gonna try right now just to do a quick bevel on this edge to see how it looks. Maybe it'll look okay.
So I'll explain what Cody's doing. So you guys see that, right? You guys see how instead of it being a 90 degree from the vertical to the horizontal face, he added a 45, basically.
Now we can also try it Here, I'll turn the lines back on so you can see. We can also try it with like a round, just to see.
Okay, so you guys, while he's modeling the round instead of the angle, let me show you in physical terms here. Okay, so OEM, it's a curve. You got a little bit of a curve, right? Then on this one, you've got this 45-ish. You guys see it? And then it curves up a little bit. On this one, 90 degree. Up, 90. So we're adding a 45 on this edge instead of a 90. This has a 45. You see it? And then OEM is a curve. I actually am really feeling the 90, but the light catches. You can even see it right here. You got the light hitting here, you got the 45, and then you have this plane. I think the light catching, Cody himself said he thinks the 45 catches light a different way. I think the 90 catches light nicely in a different kind of way. But
so in Alias, there's a freeform blend, which is a very common tool. And then you have different options for what kind of curvature you want from edge to edge. So let's just pick that same area, pick those two surfaces. We'll make them both G2 curvature. We have a rounded corner there.
Okay, so instead of a straight up vertical plane to a 45 to a horizontal plane, but now it's a curvature.
Now we do have the option where you can kind of play with that, where you can kind of adjust each one a little bit and it will change
the curve.
The curve, yeah. Depending on if you want to have more lead in from this side, more lead in from that side, you can adjust all those things.
When it comes to the top surface of the valve cover, it's purely creativity and the art of it, the aesthetics of it, the way it's going to catch light, if it's raw metal, tool paths, if you're anodizing it, cerakoting it, powder coating it, anodizing it, etc. So I personally feel like the 90 is kind of cool.
The other option,
45, the curve looks really dope on metal, really dope.
The other option is you could put a bevel and you could round both corners of the bevel. So it'll be like a bevel. So you have
all of them.
Yes.
You have 45, 90, but it's blended.
Right.
Which also looks amazing.
So we can try to just cut that corner out. I'm trying to think about how much of a round you might want to put there. Maybe we'll make it a little bit less than that. So in Alias, you know, everything is all surface based. It's not like SolidWorks, so you kind of have to do everything manually.
Yeah.
As I was saying before, everything is surface based, so it's basically like you're modeling on just like a skin surface, and you basically project curves, and then once you have everything projected, you can then pick what parts of the surface you want to keep and what parts you want to get rid of.
Yes.
So there's a tool here called trim and untrim, and basically you can go in where you want to keep and where you want to get rid of the surfaces, and then you delete them out or keep them. And that's kind of how it works in a nutshell.
And so presently, just for the sake of this particular edge, it's just kind of giving you a little bit.
Gave me a little bit of trouble, but I got it sorted. Now we'll bring back all the surfaces. We'll be able to go in and add that round in, like I was doing before. Just put one in here, and we'll take a look at it. Grab all three of these, put them on the layer that I have been working on, just so that you can see them in black. So if you see over here, every layer has like a different color. I can change the colors. So if I change surface outer to red, all the lines turn to red. I like to look at them in black because I just find it the cleanest.
On your eye catches it easier?
Yeah, I mean, if I turn the shaded colors on, I have them like more of a light blue gray. But then there's also all these different shaders. This is more for like automotive, so there's like a clay surface. This one's more like a shiny surface. You can change what kind of light you have. Right now we're on like kind of like an outdoor kind of lighting, just for like visual purposes. So you can see here with the lines on, you see the straight edge and then the beveled rounded edge. And then if I turn the lines off, it gives you kind of more of an idea
of the way light will hit it.
Yeah, so you can kind of see there. you know, it's kind of interesting seeing that.
I mean, pretty damn cool, right? You get to mimic the way light is going to hit the metal once it's cut in metal. I love it, and this is where I geek out. Cody geeks out as a creative, because you get to see the light here, the light here, and then now you're gonna see what it looks like if we're curving right there on that edge.
And then of course, you know, these surfaces would have to be trimmed out.
Yep. So okay, so that's the process that Cody and I go through, both verbally and literally, referencing these, and then obviously most important is gasket fitment, being able to torque everything down, build pressure when you start the car, and no oil leaks. So that's where we are right now. That's what we're working on. It's a combination, of course, of time, creativity, trial and error, because neither of us have done this exact type of thing before. Cody's really experienced in making all types of parts and shapes, but it's just an example of just, you know, look at how much better he's gonna be at this process the next time I'm like, hey Cody, I want to make a version 3, version 4. We'll be able to be much more efficient at it. So, you know, I really appreciate you guys being here. I will answer all the questions, and if I don't know the answer, I'll get Cody to answer them on YT or on IG, wherever, so you guys can continue to learn with us. Okay, thank you guys for being here. Next up is the next version and next test fitment. Okay, we took a break. We're gonna go have a meal, and Cody just threw in something. He's like, hey, do you want to see my Type R? And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? Okay, Cody has a RSX, Cody has Nissans, he makes Sylvia parts, he makes 240 parts, he's got a two-tone. I'll show you guys those later, but you know, I know these things. And then when he's like, hey, do you want to see my Type R? I'm just like, what Type R? So so this fool got an FK8 Type R. When did you get this, Cody?
February of this year.
It's not really a thing that you just throw out of like, hey, we're working on this valve cover. Oh, do you want to see my Type R? But here we are. So this dude, so, you know, the 240 is what year's the 240?
89.
89. Okay, RSX. You know, he's not ever really been into the newer ones, and yet here you are.
I like red though.
You do like red.
Yeah.
Okay, so his RSX, red. As you can see, all these parts, red. So Cody likes red, but the Type R though, Cody, I see, bro. The VTEC Turbo. That's actually an RSX printed lip. Cody, okay, explain how this car came to be, because this is actually a really cool story.
It's a salvage auction car.
Okay.
Came from Copart, and Alex from Blade Sports has a dealer license, and he was able to get it for me because, you know, he deals with cars like that often.
Yeah.
I said I wanted to get one. I thought it would be good for product development and for social media.
Yeah.
So we ended up finding this one for auction, pretty low price, but then at the end of the auction, it sold for around like 14, 15.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting it. The frame rails on it were bent, so they had to all be replaced. And I wholeheartally knew that I would have to go through this process. Car ended up going to the body shop, stayed there for about 6 months. They replaced all the frame rails, fixed everything from the firewall forward,
Yeah.
and squared everything up. And basically the car looks like it's never been hit. It's just now I have to deal with the airbag issue and stuff like that.
So on a side note, Cody,
Backyard special.
can I buy this bumper from you?
I don't know if it's for sale, but we'll see.
I kind of want to buy that backyard DC5
I got some
bumper.
other ones. I got a C West up there, Type 1, Type 2.
Yeah, I like those, but I really like backyard.
I got a J's, I got a Veal side. I got
The
a
Veal
bike
side is just for nostalgia. I would
Right.
never rock that, but the J's is dope, which, you know, I know Danielle, shout out to Danielle and J's USA. Cody got this. All the frame rails are fixed. Everything's fixed. You just need to do airbags.
Right. Still got to do airbags because the process in California for a salvage car is you got to do You got to do a brake and light check, you got to do a smog check, and then you also have to do a VIN check.
Yeah.
And normally VIN checks for a DMV is kind of particular because they need to check to make sure everything is good, and sometimes with newer cars they have to the car has to be sent to CHP, and that's like, you know, pretty.
So you just want to make sure that everything is on point, perfect.
Right, correct. Oh yes. So yeah, you see the airbags are blown, but
Not well lit in here, but yeah. No, I'm excited to see you out here dipping around in something I actually never thought you would be in.
yeah.
Right? Who would have
Right.
thought, Cody? Rare bumpers, Kaminari, J's, C West.
Probably the most coveted thing in here is probably the Ab Fluke lights that I have for the 180SX. But
Yeah, so he's got Ab Fluke headlights for 180. C West 1 and 2, Jay's Racing Backyard Special, Veal Side.
I got a Jay's Racing 0204 DC5 that is broken in half. Supposedly it came from Canada, and it was like one of the first Jay's kits for a DC5 that was imported from Bulletproof Automotive.
Yeah.
Things broken in half, and you can see them above that working room that I have.
Right
Part
there.
of it, I made a new portion for it that I was going to graft to it, but I haven't finished it yet.
And then he's got parts he's made over there, bumper caps, wide body stuff. Now, we're about to go eat. And for those of you who've been following a long time, you guys already know how I do it. I never record meals because once we do work or fun stuff, car stuff, okay. And I share that with you guys. But when it comes time to eating, doesn't matter if I'm down the street here in SoCal or I'm in New York or whatever, I never really include the meals because that's personal time, that's friendship time, that's family time, and I just don't include those. So I appreciate you guys being here. This little extra part right here, wanted to show you Cody's Type R project. But when it comes time to eating, I keep those conversations between myself and whoever I'm with, okay? So I love you guys. We'll see you on the next one. What'd you say?
Hood, fender, bumper, headlights, core support, frame rails, all that had to be replaced.
Talk about a project. That's a real...
Accessory brake, carbon caps. Not fully assembled, but yeah, they replaced all the frame rails. This is the core support that I replaced.
Interesting.
All this here was
All
up to the apron, all around the shock tower.
All smashed in.
They're all smashed in, all replaced with new parts. Yeah.
amazing.
New ready with new condenser.
This whole...
The bolts probably aren't all accurate, but I've just been trying to get it together. I even put the stickers on from the old hood.
To keep it all accurate?
Yeah. Put this channel back on from the old hood. So, yeah, just trying to keep it OEM. We'll see how it goes.
You know what I'm about to say, right? You started another project.
Yeah, I know. It's not a good idea.
Cody's got a lot of projects, but it's cool to see him in something newer. I never would have thought.
My dad really likes this one for some reason.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why.
So over the years, I've been able to be friends with the family, hang out with Cody and his dad, and it's just kind of cool for that aspect of it. But anyways, all right, guys. Now we're definitely gonna go eat. Time to go. I'll see you guys on the